Hi and welcome to Whisky Shared. You're watching my review of Statesman blended Scotch whisky. I'm Toby and you're watching Whisky Shared. Welcome to my review of Statesman blended Scotch whisky. I recently picked this up in Aldi Nord in Germany on a recent trip to Denmark. The only reason I picked this up is it's the cheapest Scotch whisky I've ever seen. It was €7.99, which was £6.88 equivalent in the UK, and I just had to buy it. This particular whisky is coloured, it's 40% ABV, and it is most likely chill filtered. Should we find out what it tastes like? On to the whisky. So before I start nosing and tasting, let's have a quick look at the colour. I'd say that is light gold, but as it says on the label, it is coloured. Let's start with the nose. Right, so the first thing I get with this is like a hint of earthy peat. There's a slight chemical note, like, yeah, it's reminding me of like a cleaning product. I'm getting some sweet vanilla. I'm getting charred oak. And I'm also getting black pepper. Let's move on to the palate. Yeah, it's incredibly light on the palate, but there's lots of sweetness, there's lots of vanilla and like white sugar. Really is sweet. There's some charred oak, which is quite prominent as well. But I'd also say that the sort of hint of smoke is there. I'd say it's not much for my palate, but I think this definitely isn't a beginner's level of smoke. Let's have another sip. Yeah, there's not much more going on. I'm getting a little bit of pepper build up, which is quite interesting for a 40% whiskey. Lots of sweetness, lots of vanilla, lots of granulated white sugar. Really is piling it on. I think the charred oak isn't overly strong. It's not overly bitter or dry at this stage, but yeah, more of the same. Let's have one final sip, see if we can get anything else. Yeah, I'm not really getting anything else. There's the sweetness, which is well too sweet, but you know, I like sweet whiskies, but it's incredibly one-dimensional. I think it's coming from the heavy grain content in this. There's some pepper, there's some charred oak, and there's some smoke. That's pretty much it. In terms of finish, I'd say it is actually quite medium for the amount of pepper that makes that heat linger. That wood is starting to turn bitter now. And there's obviously that vanilla sweetness. In terms of value, well, as I said, this is €7.99 and that's £6.88 equivalent at the time I bought it. The reason I bought it is it was obviously the cheapest Scotch whisky I'd ever seen. You know, the cheapest I think you can probably buy a Scotch whisky, which is obviously minimum 3 years old, in the UK, is £13 to £14, and it's the same stuff. It's pretty much the same stuff. I don't think I was expecting anything different. I was potentially expecting something worse, but I'm pretty sure if they sell this in Aldi in Germany, it's the same stuff that they probably sell, you know, at the cheapest price possible in the UK. It might be a different bottler, it might be, you know, from different distilleries, but it's pretty much the same stuff. I think this is obviously aimed at quite a broad customer base. It's obviously aimed at people that don't really want to spend much on whiskey. It's probably, you know, not going to be consumed in large amounts for the appreciation of what the liquid is, but it will be consumed in large amounts. You know, it's people that like the taste of whiskey. It's people that probably like the taste of whiskey and Coke or other mixers. Interestingly, I did try this with Coke, and it really does get lost. It reminds me more of like a barrel-aged vodka. There's a sort of a charred oak note along with a heavy grain spirit. So yeah, I think even people that like the taste of whiskey and Coke, I think will probably be slightly disappointed by this. But you know, if you're spending sort of €8 in Germany for this, then maybe you should spend a bit more, because obviously their duty fees aren't as high on spirits. So you can obviously get better value for your money by spending maybe 14, 15 euros a bottle instead of this €8. It's not going to set the world alight. It's definitely not for the people that watch this channel generally, but there will be people out there that have probably picked up a bottle of this and wondered if it's any good. I think if you like sweet whiskey, this is going to be a good starting point, or if you like sweet spirits, this might be a good starting point for you to get into whiskey. But you know, this is not representative of what whiskey really is. And I think, although this is probably a little bit too smoky for people that aren't into smoky whiskies, I think if you wanted to, you know, dip your toe in the water of peated whiskies, I think this would be a good place to start, because it actually is, in terms of smoke, I think it's a decent amount of smoke, but it's not too harsh either. It's reasonably soft. So, you know, if you've never had a peated whiskey before, something like this would be a good place to, to start in terms of smoke level, but not in terms of whiskey flavour. If you've tried this, let me know in the comments as always. And if you found a cheaper Scotch whisky than this, or even another whisky from another country or region, then also let me know in the comments as always. Hopefully you found this interesting, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. Stauncher.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, why not give it a like or a comment, and please consider subscribing for more videos like this.